guys, welcome to yet another episode of my Let's Play of the full version of the crew, and in this episode we're gonna be test driving the cars from the Raid Pack update. And the first car we're gonna be testing is the Volkswagen Touareg NF 2011, and this thing is actually pretty interesting. It's a big Volkswagen SUV, and we actually don't have that yet in this game, and the interior actually looks pretty darn cool on this thing as well. But the most interesting part about this car is it sounds pretty nice. It doesn't sound exactly like the one from TD2, but it sounds different.
Push that.
As you can see, it sounds something like a Veyron, but with less cylinders. I mean, listen. And you can actually hear the blow-off valves running too, working too. I mean, what kind of engine sound has that? Now, the Volkswagen Touareg NF is actually like I said, a very nice car. It's an SUV, and it's only got dirt spec and raid spec available for it, which is kind of cool. It's actually the cheapest car of the pack. It's $2, and the McLaren F1 being the most expensive car, but the Cadillac Escalade is the one in the middle. And as you can see, the Volkswagen Touareg NF actually handles pretty darn well, because it's got all-wheel drive, it's got quite a bit of power, and it also has very good grip. It doesn't accelerate very well, as you can tell, but it's big and heavy. That's the reason why it doesn't accelerate as well. Now later on, after I review these cars, I will actually wait for the newer cars to come out as well. I might even do test drivings around the track and stuff like that. Actually, I doubt it. I probably won't, but I'm pretty sure if they're gonna release more DLC cars in the future, then I'll wait a little bit. But if they're not gonna release any more DLC packs next month, then I will do a little list of the cars that have the fastest times and the slowest times. Basically, a lap time leaderboard around this track. That's the reason why I've used this track. Went to the Las Vegas car dealership to test drive all of these cars, because that way I'll be able to test to see which ones are better and faster. And later on, I'll do a whole entire leaderboard thing with the cars. In fact, I'll actually do that right here in this video, but I won't actually show you later on. There's one car that comes really close to being up against the fastest car, but I think I could go a little faster with it from this pack. Now, if you actually see me continue driving when I hit the escape button, I don't know what happens. Sometimes the game glitches out after you do co-op missions, and it will just continue making you drive thinking that you're doing a co-op mission. And so, as you can see here, right now, with that. And so that concludes a test drive. It actually was a pretty good lap time. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a 1 minute and 5 with this thing. And now we're test driving the Cadillac Escalade. Taking a look at it at least first. And it looks pretty cool. I like the headlights, the LEDs on the front, all LEDs. Has a nice interior and also has a very nice back end. When you actually make the street spec version, you can have the full entire taillights going up to the roof, which is kind of cool. I mean, the newer Cadillac Escalade actually does that, which that's a nice little detail they did in the street spec one. As an option, that
is. Check everything on that thing.
And of course, this thing has all specs available. It has circuit spec, raid spec, perf spec, street, dirt, etc. It has all the specs. Of course, it has a full stock, and it's required to do that because all the cars have to have a full stock. Otherwise, it's not really a car. And as you can see, the car handles well, but it's very drifty, which is kind of surprising for a big SUV, because you'd think it's pretty darn grippy, but it just drifts all over the place. I believe this thing is all-wheel drive, judging on the fact that it's not actually spinning out. Well, actually, I'm doing full assistance steering, and I'm pretty sure if I use sports steering, this thing would not be drifting as much. It would actually be gripping more or less. And so, yeah. Overall, the handling is actually still pretty good with this car. I mean, it's manageable, it drifts, but it's manageable. It's very much like the Mercedes C63 AMG that I tested a couple of updates before. I believe it was in the Extreme Pack when I test drove the C63 AMG Black Series. And as you can see, already a pretty decent lap time with this car. But this is only the starting lap. I'm going to do a flying lap right now. test drive to see how fast it can really go. And the interior, like I said, the interior is pretty nice. And in fact, when you actually customize this thing for perf spec and street spec, there's actually a few body kits that resemble that of the Cadillac CTS-V. So that might mean we might that must mean we might get a Cadillac CTS-V in the future. And if they're gonna add a Cadillac CTS-V, I would love to see the Cadillac CTS-V Coupe come in, because there's a CTS-V Coupe race car, and that would fit in absolutely perfectly with this game. And if they have a circuit spec of the Cadillac CTS-V Coupe, then it will most likely look like the Cadillac CTS-V race car, which is gonna be pretty darn cool. I would actually like to see the entire Cadillac CTS-V CTS family come in. Not the older generations, the newer generations, like the 2010 version, when they became like a fighter jet and stuff like that, and we're about to end the lap time. And the brand new Cadillac CTS-V coming out. Actually, it's already up or whatever. So yeah, moving on to the final car of this pack. And now here is the final car of this pack. My favorite car of this pack, and also my favorite car of this pack, the McLaren F1. Now this is a surprise to me. I actually thought this car was not going to be terribly good, but it actually is good. It understeers a little bit because, well, it's an old car. It doesn't handle as well as some of the newer cars. But overall, this car is really cool. It's got the center-mounted steering wheel design on this thing. It's got 3 seats. Too bad you can't actually use them in this game, but whatever. And overall, it's a nice car. And as you can see, it actually sounds
Check everything on that thing.
pretty nice. It sounds very nice, in fact. So props to Ubisoft for that, because when they released the Aston Martin V12 Zagato as a DLC car, it actually didn't sound anything like a V12. It sounded more like a blender than a V12. As did the Bentley. The Bentley actually, the Aston Martin V12 Zagato actually has the recycled Bentley engine sound in it, as far as I know. But this thing actually has a real-life screaming BMW V12 engine sound. And that's good, because the real-life McLaren F1 actually has that. But one small detail that I noticed with this car, and of course in Hot Pursuit as well, is that the air brake on the back, as you can see the wing's actually up, the wing on the back actually also functions as an air brake. But for some reason it doesn't do that in this game or Hot Pursuit. But it's a small detail. I can forgive them for that, for bringing in this car. I can forgive that small detail, because when you make it a perf spec, the wing is actually deactivated, and you get the McLaren F1 GTR style wing on the back, which is good, because I like the McLaren F1 GTR because it was made in 1995, which was the year that I was born, which was pretty nice. I guess you could say that the McLaren F1 and me, the McLaren F1 GTR and me, are about the same age. So yeah, pretty nice. I really, really love this car, and I love the engine sound. It's actually my favorite car, and I'm actually kicking myself in the ass because I never got the season pass for me. I got High Train the season pass for his as a birthday gift, and I never got myself the season pass. And now that I know the McLaren F1 is actually good, I feel really bad for not getting the season pass. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true.